Hey, hey, happy Friday, everyone. How are you? It's another Film Threat Watch Party. I hope that you have had a good week. I know that so much is happening in the world right now, and we could use maybe a little bit of a break, which is why we are going to watch Stunt Women, the Untold Hollywood Story. I'm very excited. Let's get started. Welcome to another Film Threat Watch Party. I am Chris Gore. I hope you are having a good Friday. You made it to the end of the week. That is something to celebrate. I will be celebrating myself with my beverage of choice. Hello, everyone. Get ready to watch Stunt Women, the Untold Hollywood Story. And I have got some amazing guests for this watch party. This is going to be a lot of fun. First off, all of you right now, go to Vudu, go to iTunes, go to wherever you get your digital movies, movies anywhere, whatever. Stunt Women, the Untold Hollywood Story is now available. I bought it myself. I bought it myself on Vudu. I'm going to be watching it on my iPad right here, right next to my whole setup here. So everyone go purchase the film and get ready to press play with us in about like 15 minutes. We're all going to press play at the same time, but we have an amazing group of guests tonight. I'm so excited for you to watch along with us. And also a reminder, comments. If you post comments, I might throw them up. Like, hey, benedictina. It says Chris Gore got him as G4 TV. I do too, although you probably already know it's coming back. So thank you, benedictina. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Jared, how's it going? What's going on, man? All right, let's do this. Another watch party. Check it out. Get Stunt Women right now. And Marla Metelsky. Wow, this is an old school. This is old school. Yes, Marla, how are you? Good to see you. Post your comments as we watch along with the film. This is going to be a lot of fun. So if you have questions for everyone who's about to be on the show, let's get it started here. First, I want to bring on the director, April Wright. She's an amazing documentary filmmaker, and this is her first time on a Film Threat Watch Party, although I'm hoping not the last. April Wright, welcome.
Hey.
Hey, happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. We made it.
I'm excited to watch this movie along with you. We did a podcast, actually, which ran earlier this week, an episode of the Film Threat podcast. We talked about the film. This is an amazing project. Where did it all come together? And then let's bring on a bunch of the people who were involved in the film.
This film was on a book by the same name, Stunt Women, The Untold Hollywood Story, written by a woman named Molly Gregory. And a few producers, Michael Gruskoff, Marion Rosenberg, Stephanie Austin, had optioned the book, wanted to turn it into a film. And I knew Marion and Stephanie, and I had done a couple documentaries about film history, which this had an aspect of. So I was used to finding the clips and dealing with that kind of stuff. And I had met a stunt woman and a female DP that I wanted to work with. And then this project came up and kind of all came together, and we made it as an indie film.
But as you know, filmmaking is a team sport. So maybe you'd like to introduce some members of your team.
Yes. So I didn't know exactly what a watch party was. I had to watch a couple of your others. And then when I realized it's the same thing as like a DVD commentary.
Right, pretty much.
But live, and I was really excited because I would buy DVDs just for the commentary sometimes. I love them. I love listening to the behind the scenes. So then I was like, this is going to be awesome. So I knew I had to have my line producer, Alex Hamilton, because she was beside me traveling to Atlanta to the Marvel sets down at Pinewood where we shot The Moneymakers. She went with me up to Vancouver when we shot Melissa Stubbs on the set of The X-Files. And so she'll probably remember stuff that happened that I can't remember.
Alex, welcome.
Thank you, Chris.
You're on.
Real good. Yeah, I had a really good time working with April and the rest of the producers on this movie. It was an honor, really, to be a part of the team. I love doing projects that have a good, strong message, an uplifting message, and this was right down my alley. So it was a lot of fun to do.
And we had talked to other line producers, but one thing, Alex came in, she told us that when she first came to Hollywood, she wanted to be a stunt woman, and she met some stuntmen.
Yeah, because I'm All-American in track, and I was a gymnast, and I have 11 high school letters and, scholarships to college for my athleticism. So when I came to LA, I met with some stuntmen because I thought that I could get into being a stunt woman, especially with my gymnastic background and my swimming background. And their advice to me was, don't do it. If you care about your body, do not do it. So I segued into production instead.
Sweet. Well, April, do you want to?
They talked you out of it.
Yeah.
They want to wear a wig. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it's just, anyone knows when filmmaking, especially independent filmmaking, right? It's the odds are stacked against you already. Making an independent film, you really need like people that are dedicated and really passionate about the project. April, who would you like to bring on next?
Alyma Dorsey, who is one of the Stunt Women featured in the film.
Woo! Hello, can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, all right, great.
So if you've seen the trailer for the film, you've seen Alyma doing her stunt driving in that yellow car. And Alyma had a cool story. She, I'll give away some of your history, but she was Tarantino's personal trainer. And so she was on set with him down in Louisiana when he was shooting Django Unchained, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And that's how she got into stunts when she saw what was involved. You can tell the rest.
Absolutely. I mean, I was literally sitting on set for about 7 months watching all these amazing stunt performers perform. And I just remember one day walking up to him. As soon as he said cut, I couldn't even wait. He was in the middle of shooting a scene. He said cut. I ran up to him and I'm like, Q, I can do this. And he goes, yes, you can, honey. So awesome. And then he actually introduced me to the stunt coordinator. And I met the stunt team, started training with them. And that's literally how I got my start. It was really crazy.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And then the first thing you did was the butler, right?
Yeah, the first thing I did was the butler. And that was super fun. I had never, ever done anything before. So it was a really learning experience for me more than anything else. Set etiquette, what to do, what not to do. Did you just pop champagne?
Well, I took the top off of it and then I didn't open it, pop it. It just popped itself. So
that's awesome.
We'll grab
That's perfect. So I literally went up to Quentin and I told him that I could do it, started training. And 2 months later, I booked the butler. And just from training with some of the people there and them referring me to the stunt coordinator and just basically right place, right time, but also being ready for the opportunity. So it was amazing.
Well, I can't wait for you to talk more about, what we get to see in the documentary, because we see you kind of develop and master a stunt that nothing that I would ever attempt, but holy crap, it's a great sequence in the film.
Awesome.
Yeah, cool. April, who else is joining us?
Did we get Jessie? Did she come?
Hi, I'm here. Hi, guys.
Where is she?
Hi, Jessie.
When we pre-talked, so I was like, where is she? Yay. So Jessie I met in the very beginning when we started this project, and this was before Alex was even on board. Zoe Bell was directing this it was an interesting event. It was a fashion show downtown at LA Live. Do you remember this? And it was a little stunt where Zoe had maybe 15 or 20, a lot of stunt women where you wouldn't usually see that many of them together. And it was kind of just like a game where they had all the models like going. It was a literal real fashion event, and the place was full. And they had sprinkled stunt women within the models. And then at some point, one of them pushed another one, and then they broke out into this fight. And when we shot all the rehearsals, and then we shot the live event, and it was funny watching it from the audience because people were like, what is going on? What is going on? They thought all these models were starting to fight, but then it was stunt women and they started doing all these flips and fighting. It was a really cool thing. It didn't make it into the film at the end of the day, but that's where I met Jessie. And I just remember you were really shy, and we kind of just talked a little bit and started to become friends. And then I was like, I would love to go to her house and shoot. And then when we got to your house, and we saw that you don't have a living room, you have that with the menu. I was like, this is awesome. So it exceeded my expectations. So, I didn't know
thank you.
what we were going to get. So thank you for inviting us into your home there to shoot.
No problem. And we had so much fun in that fashion show. It was such a crazy experience. But the craziest part was they put me in these fake nails and they glued them on so tight that I got trapped. And I didn't even know how to get out of my clothes at the end because I was so confused. All the models just like ripped them off and left, but they glued mine on tight because they knew I was going to mess them up.
Yeah. Yeah, we had all you guys in like beautiful hair and makeup, and we shot all that. It was pretty cool.
Yes.
Just a quick reminder to everybody to go get Stunt Women, the Untold Hollywood Story right now. Buy it however you're going to get it. It's on iTunes. It's on Vudu, Movies Anywhere. It's all your video on demand platforms, wherever you like to buy your movies. Get the film. We're going to start in less than 5 minutes. We're all going to press play at the same time. And then I've got my iPad here. It's all queued up and ready to go. So we'll all press play at the same time, watch the film, and then you will provide a running commentary. And additionally, questions from our audience. I'm talking to you, audience, right now. You, the people watching this on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube, we're on Periscope. Periscope is still around, apparently. Post your questions, and they will respond to your questions while you watch the film. So this is like a running DVD commentary, as you were pointing out, April. What prepared you to do this? I know you talked about the book, but what also kind of prepared you to get ready to do this? And how did you collect and get everyone like Jessie and Alyma to be involved?
Well, I took the book as a starting point, and I think the book went up to about 2007. So it gave me a lot of good information about the history, about some of the stunt women and some of the key stunts that they had done. So I already knew, like True Lies and some of the ones that were done. But then I had to do more research to bring it up to the present day. And then I just made lists and kind of figured out, how can we show all the history? How can we show all the different aspects of the story from different points of view? So I had all these lists of people that, should we interview them? Should we interview them? And it was this narrowing down process. And then it became a scheduling question too. Some people that we couldn't get because of schedule issues. And then, like we were going to shoot somebody else. And then we ended up finding Alyma. And remember I met with you at the Coffee Bean, I think it was. And got you involved.
Yes, I do.
So it was sort of a balancing act of, having younger people and newer people and the living legends and just sort of telling all sides of the story. And then I just did a tremendous amount of research so that I had questions prepared so that I knew all their backgrounds. When we would get to meet them, I could, get into the topics that I thought they would know really well. And then when you meet them, like, for example, when we got to Jessie's house, you were there, Alyma. It was just her workout day. She had just gotten back from a bike ride. And then she's like, I'm starting upper body now. And so she started out by doing like 36 pull-ups, something like that. Do you remember that?
Sounds about right.
It wasn't your record, but it was really good. And the rest of us were watching. And then she's like, okay, well, you girls can do the pull-ups now. Don't feel like it's a competition. You don't have to do, And Alyma, you go, I got one. You're like, I could do one pull-up.
I got one for you.
I got one for you.
I can do more than one pull-up, by the way. But
I know, it was a good joke and a good line because Jessie effortlessly does like 36, and you're just we're all watching.
Absolutely.
Oh my God! And the day did not stop. Like it started.
There's no competition whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, we all have different strengths.
Yeah. But the day did not stop.
Absolutely.
After it was this, it was that, it was the trampoline, and my camera people were just shooting, trying to catch everything going on. And after we finished that day, we went to like a Starbucks, and they were all like, "Oh, that was the most amazing thing I've ever seen." That was pretty fun.
That's awesome.
Well, we are getting comments in, so wherever you're watching
Fun
this,
day.
Facebook or YouTube, Daniel Poor, thank you. Speaking of pour, if anyone has a drink that they'd like to pour and get ready, because we are about to press play on the film. So everyone,
Daniel's one of our producers.
I'm getting water. I'll be right back.
Oh, hey, Daniel. Grab water or whatever your beverage is, your preferred beverage. This is going to be a lot of fun.
I brought iced tea, and then that pop earlier, Chris said a lot of people have a cocktail because it is happy hour. So I did have a champagne stash in the fridge, so I opened it. So here's cheers to the Stunt Women. Although I don't think Jesse and Alyma have alcohol because they're athletes, and I don't think either of them drink, to my knowledge. So maybe on a very rare occasion.
I don't either.
Well, I'm still working on my first pull-up, so I'll get to work on that.
That's right.
I honestly am just not sure that if I were drunk, I don't know if I would think I could fly and just jump off a building.
I hope not.
It's a survival mechanism that I'm like, it's probably better if I just don't even drink.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is about when we're going to start pressing play. Everyone that's watching, get the movie queued up. We're ready to do this. You've purchased it on Vudu or wherever you've gotten it. I've got it on Vudu or iTunes or wherever. It's all over the place from Shout Factory. So get it all queued up. Are you guys ready? Oh shoot, I lost it. I had it right there. Here it is. I'm good to go. 3, 2, 1, go.
4 a.m. and Amy Johnston is training before she heads to set. Being a stunt woman takes discipline, strength, coordination, courage.
Trying to figure out how to mute my phone. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait.
It was Amy Johnston running. And where did we shoot that? Which park was that, Alex?
Marathon Park.
And then Alyma here, we shot at which gym was this? An XMA gym, right? But which one?
Yeah, that was at XMA. Yes, XMA in North Hollywood.
I love XMA. I was their first member.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, then
That's
They're like
super
8
cool.
hours a day.
Yeah, that's Mr. Cat's place.
yeah, this is a graphic opening that we had that it basically goes backwards through time. So it starts with some current stunts and then a little bit back in time, and I'll call it some of the things when we get to it. But a lot of these clips here are women that are in our film. Like
my God.
there's me,
This opening montage.
there's Zoe.
Yeah. This opening montage is it's sick. It's insane.
Yeah. And then, of course, Michelle Rodriguez we had to put in because she's an executive producer and also in the film. That's Julianne Johnson there, who you'll see in the film. That was Angela Merrill, wasn't it? Wasn't that one? They're going by so fast. Jumanji.
Yeah, this opening montage is just like super quick.
There's Alyma.
That's great.
Angels, and then finally True Lies. Again.
How did you get Michelle Rodriguez involved?
Michelle is just a big advocate of stunt people, and she wants to make sure that they get their due and get their credits. And also she is a big feminist, so she wants to push up and forward women. So she was all about it. It was very easy. I just had like a FaceTime call with her when she was in Chicago shooting the movie Widows. And then she just said, just tell me what you want to do. So the producers got a hold of her through her agents. And it was that easy. And she was great to work with. She really was. So here we are going backwards through time through some of the shows that were on in the 70s, The Bionic Woman, that motorcycle through fire, that is Debbie Evans. That car flip is from the movie Hooper, and that's driven by Janet Brady, who is believed to be one of the first women doing a car flip. And then that helicopter stunt there is Julianne Johnson and her and JD when they're younger. And then Earthquake was one of the biggest films that used the most stunt people at the time. And the shot in the elevator is Jeannie Epper in that clip from Earthquake that you can see. So all these clips have actual stunt women in them.
I mean, it brought back so many memories for me because I watched The Bionic Woman in first run when it was on in the 70s. And then Earthquake, I saw that movie in the theater. I mean, I used to walk to the movie theater when I was a kid. And I loved Earthquake. I really love this telling, this historical telling of bringing us to the present and really showing what, you know, how the job of stunt woman like really evolved.
Yeah.
You know?
And there were very few films kind of in those middle years up to the 60s. So we showed a few of them. Gone with the Wind, that stairfall was actually a stunt woman, and King Kong used a stunt woman, the 1933. And then we get back to these silent films, which we shot at the Chinese, which Alex was there and Alyma was there. So, and Jesse, did you know before you saw this part that women were doing stunts like this 100 years ago?
I don't think I did know that.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? I know Alyma thought it was crazy when she learned.
Jennifer has a comment. I think it's Jennifer.
I love this documentary. So Alex, what do you remember about this day when we were shooting at the Chinese theater?
Oh, I remember it was really early in the morning. We had to be there at like 4 a.m. or something like that. And then I was worried about Michelle getting in and out of the theater because when we wrapped, it was when all the tourists started coming to Hollywood Boulevard. And so here I have a celebrity and trying to get her out of the theater with all these people coming from all over the world to see celebrities.
Right.
I'm like, oh, shoot. Please get her out.
The other thing, too, we had gone there to location scout, and I had this idea in my head of shooting sort of a big wide of the whole theater so that you could see we're in the Chinese and all these seats. And when we got there that morning, they had decided that they were doing some cleaning of the seats or something. And so half of the theater was blocked off and like the seats were covered in plastic or something. And it was like, guess we can't get that angle or that shot. So then we ended up having to sort of aim one way and only get so much. So, you know, those production things where you have to make it work.
Yeah, especially when you're on a shoestring budget, you know.
There's a question. Someone asked a question here. How much input do the stunt people have in the idea, setup, and design of each stunt? I think that'd be a good question. Thank you, Thunderherd. And thank you, Jen, for your amazing comment. We appreciate it. I mean, I think that based on what I saw in the doc, Jesse and Alyma, you have a lot of input into the stunt in terms of its execution, right? I mean, there are so many safety precautions and whatnot. Can you talk about that?
I guess, I mean, it depends from show to show. The stunt coordinator, who is also a stunt person, stunt coordinator would be responsible for coming up with basically the entire how is this going to be carried out. So the script might say she hangs from a ladder from a helicopter and then gets lowered onto the plane. The stunt coordinator is going to figure out like what kind of helicopter and who's going to fly it and what kind of plane and who's going to be flying the plane and getting lowered on the ladder. So the stunt coordinator has a ton of creative input into the stunt, how it looks, how it's made. The performer has some creative input, and that totally depends on the coordinator and how much input they want. You're always responsible for your own safety, though. So if someone sets something up that you're not comfortable with, it is your responsibility to speak up. You can suggest other ways to do it depending on who your coordinator is. You can always say no. And, you know, at that point, obviously, you're putting your stunt coordinator in a difficult position where they're going to have to find another way to get it done. And if it was unsafe, then they're going to be happy to do that anyway. They want it to be safe. So, yeah. And sometimes they'll want a ton of creative input. Like, how would you do this? How would you climb this thing and swing off of it? What would be the most efficient way? So it just depends on what your expertise is and how much input they want.
And presumably all of these stunts are written by screenwriters who don't go to the gym.
Absolutely.
They don't know anything about how to pull off a stunt. Alyma, that's true. That's true. Alyma, did you have any
Absolutely.
Alyma, did you have any comments on the question?
Yeah, no, actually what Jesse said was absolutely correct. I mean, sometimes we have input. Yeah, so what I was saying is that what Jesse said is pretty much correct. Sometimes we have input based off of our talent. So what I mean by that is a coordinator would want a reaction, and based off of what we can do, which is kind of why they hired us in the first place, we can kind of give them our own reaction because they know that we can react a certain way or we can hit the ground a certain way. So like Jesse said, they'll kind of have everything put together and then they'll put us in or fill us into those spots. And sometimes they give us some creative control, but most of the time it's kind of written and they already have an idea of what they want from us, which is why they actually hire us in particularly, because they kind of know our skills and what we can do. And sometimes they'll let us, give them more, and sometimes they won't. Sometimes it's something specific that they need from us. So that's pretty much where our input kind of comes in, unless we are the stunt coordinator. And then we, or the assistant stunt coordinator, and then we can kind of give more.
So
Blade Fire has a comment too. I don't know if you want, is there a particular stunt that was the trickiest, most challenging to you?
Absolutely. I think the trickiest stunt for me probably so far was the Baywatch stunt, because I didn't know how to drive a boat before Baywatch. And I remember when they called me, they're like, Alyma, do you know how to drive a boat? And I'm like, no. And they're like, you're hired. I'm like, okay.
Oh, no.
So, yeah. So, they did bring me in like a weekend early and they taught me how to drive a boat. But I had to do near misses, 360s, 180s. And it was just a really dangerous stunt because there's propane lines underneath, there's safety divers, there's a boat that's on fire. And I've never driven a boat before. Everyone's in my boat, all the actors, the director, all the safety guys. So one bad move from me would have been a catastrophe for everyone. So I had to be on point that day. That wasn't a day that I had the luxury of making a mistake. And, the tricky part about that whole situation is I just learned to drive a boat like 3 days ago, so it was fun, but it was challenging. And it was one of those things that really, pucker up your butthole a little bit. It's like, okay, we got this. And it's also one of those things that let you know, like, okay, I am a stunt woman. Like, today's the day. I am a stunt woman. So it's good. It's validating and it's very challenging and very rewarding at the same time.
We just had the part in the film about Jeannie Epper being TV's Wonder Woman stunt double. And I wanted to ask Jessie how she feels about that, because I know she knows Jeannie. Jeannie has mentored her, and she is Gal Gadot's stunt double in Wonder Woman 84, coming out if we can ever see it. And I wanted to see what you feel about carrying that whole tradition on.
Well, I was incredibly inspired by Jeannie from the very beginning. Like, before I even knew what stunts were, I saw the documentary Double Dare with Jeannie and Zoe, and that's when I learned about the whole industry. And I would watch that movie every single week just to get tips on how to get into stunts. And so when I met Jeannie for the first time at the United Stunt Women's Association, I was like, I've never been starstruck by a celebrity, but Jeannie was just like, and she's just so amazing. And I have gotten to know her through the United Stunt Women's Association. And the first time I ever produced something on my own, it was just like a 5-minute fight scene. And I asked her if she would be a part of it. And she got to be like our Wonder Woman, like just with one line about Steve Trevor. And then she twirls off into the distance while the fight happens. And it was just so sweet of her to come help us. And I was so excited. I felt like we had a celebrity on set for sure.
Absolutely. I'm seeing the part, JD, where you met JD, Alyma, and you had met her once before we did this interview, right?
Yes. JD is super inspirational to me. She's one of the reasons why I'm actually riding horses. I mean, she kind of like set that up for me. And, just watching her films back in the day and just learning more and more about her as I've, been in the industry, just like Jesse said, it's like we're on the set with celebrities all the time, but they don't do anything for us. We run into JD and Jeannie and we're like, oh my God, we love you. Like it's the craziest thing in the world. I mean, I could be sitting next to Denzel Washington and I'm like, yeah, that's Denzel. And then I turn my head and like, oh my God, there's JD David. You know, it's like it's a really crazy thing. And it's really amazing to be in front of living legends and to be able to pick their brain and just learn from them, because a lot of times the legends that we aspire to be like, they're no longer here. So we actually get the opportunity to learn from the people that we want to be like. And, you know, it's very rewarding, and I'm very blessed to just have that opportunity. But JD has definitely opened up many doors for me. I don't think I would be able to be as successful as I am if it wasn't for women like herself. So I owe everything to the women that came before me, for sure.
That was so well said.
Thank you. Thank you.
We had showed a couple of helicopter things, like what Julianne Johnson did. Have you both been pulled up by helicopters before? I can't remember.
Actually, yes.
I have not. Yeah, I thought Jesse has. Yeah.
I still have many variations of that are like dream stunts that I want to do. And I'm like writing little scenes, like anything to inspire an opportunity for me to be hanging from a helicopter again. But my first one was totally just a YouTube video about how to pick up women. And so they just fly a helicopter over the beach and drop a circus ladder, like a 30-foot circus ladder. And they're like, hey, come up here. And so my job was to be like, all right.
Okay.
It was so much fun. And I was so disappointed that we got it on the first take.
The little thing just played where you were doing that thing where you jump on your knuckles up the wall.
Oh, yes.
Every time I screen that with an audience, people are just like, oh my God. Like, that's the most exciting thing to see you doing that. And when I saw you doing that in person, I felt the same way. Like, oh my God, look at that. Do you still, well, you can't do it now because you're recovering from your shoulder, right? But oh my God. So.
Yeah, I can't do that right now at all. So instead I have a bucket of rice and a whole bunch of grip trainers. So my fingers will be just as strong. And then I'm going to have to start pull-ups from complete zero strength. My bicep actually shrank 2 inches. I can't even lift it yet.
Oh.
You'll get back. You'll get
this one only shrank 1.
You still got the guns though.
It'll come back.
Dave Parrish on YouTube has a question. How much lead time do you usually have to rehearse before shooting? And now in the age of COVID, how much longer would that take? I think COVID's changed production in a lot of ways dramatically. But what would you say to Dave? How would you respond?
Do you want the pre-COVID answer or the post-COVID answer? Because they're completely different. Yeah, so I'll do the pre-COVID.
Oh, I haven't worked post-COVID, but
okay. So pre-COVID, it kind of depends on what we're working on. Sometimes the shows will fly us in early and we'll shoot pre-vises and we'll have an opportunity to actually put the fights together, maybe a week or two to kind of build up, to get everyone in to learn their parts, the riggers, the fighters, the drivers, all that kind of stuff. But then there's sometimes where they bring us in and we have a day to kind of put something together. And then there's some days they bring us in and we're putting the fight together right before we're about to shoot. So everything is different. It really depends on the budget. It depends on the type of fight that we're doing, what the expectations of the fight is. It depends on if it's film, if it's TV. Sometimes if it's film, you have a little bit more time, where TV, since it's an episode, you kind of have to, get it going and be ready for the next one. So it really just depends on the budget and the type of film or television that we're doing and how much time we have. So for Ghostbusters, they brought us in, I think, a month early before the crew even got there. And so we started putting everything together, all the fights, while they were actually building, everything, the locations and all the sites that we're going to be shooting in. So it really just depends. Everything is different and you really never know. Now, this post-COVID, it's so different because now you have to go and quarantine for 2 weeks if you're going someplace. So then you have that expected time. And then now they don't want you to come and go. So now you might end up spending a little bit more time there, as opposed to leaving and coming back. Or now, if you're not on the team, the core team, you might not even go at all because they're not really doing daily contracts that much anymore. So everything has kind of changed a little bit, for sure.
They're showing fire burns in the movie. Have both of you done fire burns before?
That is one of the scariest parts of watching this. Is the fire, anything involving where you're like completely consumed in fire. I just find that just.
And we learned you have to hold your breath. You can't breathe during the whole thing because you'll burn your lungs. That's like the scariest part.
Oh, God.
Absolutely.
Have you done burns before?
Mostly at Debbie and Lane's house.
Yeah, I've practiced burns before. I've never gotten hired for burns before, but I've practiced them at like at Action Factory with Jason Domenico. And yeah, they're tricky. I mean, just it also depends on the way the wind is blowing, and you want to make sure that the flame doesn't wrap around you and you can't breathe, and you got to keep your eyes closed, and you have to know when to hit the ground, and then your safety people have to be there. So fire burns are very intense. And then you have to act.
What's
you can't just do the goofy arm. It has to make sense. Your movement has to make sense.
Yes.
What's Action Factory? Alyma, you mentioned Action Factory. Is that training?
Action Factory, yeah, it's a place where we can buy a lot of our stunt gear from, and we also can train there. It's a place where they sell a lot of rigging equipment, and also they're known for their fire burns, their fire gels, their fire wear. So sometimes when I want to train in fire, just in case I ever do get hired, I will go to Action Factory and I'll do a session with the owner there. And so he'll just set me on fire, teach me the things I need to do, because that's the thing about this industry. You have to be ready. You don't have time to get ready. You have to already be ready. So we always have to continue training. Even though I've never done a fire burn, if a coordinator calls me for a fire burn, I'm ready to do one. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think the most important skill as a stunt person is that adaptability, because they will throw new challenges at you on set. And so the skill you have to back that up is the ability to listen and learn very quickly so that you can stay safe and support the story however it is.
And what you said is so important. Learn very quickly, because a lot of times we're learning on the job. There's a lot of stunts we can't practice. You know, when I did a 40-foot ratchet in Ghostbusters, I never did a 40-foot ratchet before, because where would I? So you pretty much have to learn on the job, and you have to learn very quickly. I think that's one of the assets of being a great stunt person and to continue to be successful, is when coordinators know that even if you don't know how to do something, you'll learn it and you'll get it, and they can depend on you to get the shot under pressure. That's really what being a stunt person is all about, for sure.
I think that was my proudest moment, or I guess what I was most proud of on Wonder Woman, is that whenever there was a weird spot at the last second where they were like, oh crap, we need this to change, they'd be like, all right, Jesse, fill this space, go over there. Yes. Make something up.
Absolutely.
And so that when they assigned me to those spots, I was like, yes, I'm doing it right. I'm learning quickly enough. Well, you can always learn faster. I want to learn faster.
The movie's at the part where we're at your house, Jesse. So yeah, we got there and I was shocked she didn't have any living room furniture. She only had pull-up bars, rock climbing walls, and she has a pig that you had since a baby named Sammo Hogg, who was there in a Spider-Man bed. And
she's Spider Pig.
She is the Spider Pig and does whatever a Spider Pig can. And yeah, and the funniest part, I don't even know if we told you this, but at some point I looked outside and I saw a bag of chips that was empty, and I was like, Alex, I think Sammo might have had services.
She's a very clever thief, actually. She finds her way into things. She's very good with zippers.
So yeah, and
wow.
Like, oh my God, did you have to go around and pick up things? And
not that I can remember. I'm sure it was fine.
She ate them all.
She definitely ate all the chips.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ian Edwards has a question if you want to respond to it. Because the stunt business is so hard on your bodies, what is the average career time?
Well, I know Jeannie was working at least till she was like 68.
Yeah.
So that
performing.
Yeah.
I also feel like it depends on the person as well, because times have changed. Right now it's all about preventative care. And, there's ways that we can actually have longevity in this business if you treat your body right, meaning chiropractic care, acupuncture, therapy, swimming, just all those things that you need to do to recover and rest. That will extend your career, which they probably didn't have as much of back then. So I think as time evolves, we have the opportunity to stay in this business a lot longer, without a doubt. But it's kind of up to us to really, take on that challenge, because it is challenging. Outside of all my training, I'm in therapy almost every day for something, so, or I'm either rehabilitating something or healing something or prepping for something and getting my body right for something else. So absolutely. So, I feel like it can last longer these days if we take care of ourselves and we really, really work on our health and being proactive with it, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We're
I have
at the
exercise bands that I take in the
section that we did at.
Yeah.
We're at the section that we did at Joe Witherall's. Where were we shooting at?
Oh my God, this is such a nostalgia for me, because Joe doesn't have this place anymore. They made him take it down. But this place here is legendary. Joe Witherall is legendary. I mean, he's been a stuntman for a long time. And his place is where a majority of the stunt people would go to learn how to do falls. And he would never charge people. He'd throw barbecues. And I got so close to Joe that I could just call him up anytime, and he'd just set the bag up for me, and I would just be able to go there and jump. And that's the thing about being in this industry. You have to find people who support you and who believe in you and who are willing to be there for you. And Joe Witherall was 100% one of those people. If you ever needed to train on anything that dealing with any type of high fall, he was always there for you. And so he had different heights that you can also practice from as well. And he would also teach you if you didn't know how to do a back fall. So yeah, Joe Witherall's place was very special in the stunt industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was fun shooting up there. And we did your main interview while we were there too.
Yes, yes.
Sprinkled in the film when you have the purple on. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, now we're getting to legend Debbie Evans, which I know both of you guys love, love, love. And Donna.
Love. Absolutely love. It's so funny. It's like when Debbie beats you out for a job, you're like, okay, it's Debbie. She was supposed to get that. No big deal. Yeah, it's really funny.
We did Q&A the other day, and Debbie had a job that Alyma had talked to them about, but you probably couldn't have done it anyway because it was like a huge.
No, what I found out, she was going to be driving the fire truck and I was going to be driving the ambulance. So it was for the same day. I thought it was for a particular, so we weren't competing against each other because she actually doubles someone on that show currently. Okay. And so they were bringing me in to probably double as well. But Debbie Evans, it's so funny because, you can't even say she's good for a girl. Like, she's good, period. She's the man. And you don't even have to be a man to be the man. Like, she's the man. Like, she's amazing. Whenever I'm working on a show and she's doing the driving, I feel 100% safe. I know I'm leaving that day okay. I know I don't have anything to worry about. And just to watch her perform is insane. She's another living legend. It's like you learn just from watching her. She's amazing. Absolutely.
Well, I talked to her a couple days after that because we had done this Q&A for SAG. We did a SAG-AFTRA screening. And she told me when she went to that shoot that some people on the set knew her from watching that SAG screening. They knew her from the film, and they were coming up to her like, oh my gosh, you're so great. I saw you in the film. Like, she was getting fans. And I said, well, good. Maybe if people know you, they won't start second guessing you when you show up on set anymore. And she said, oh no, they were second guessing me all day long.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a shame. They still do that.
Right? Crazy. We got more.
Absolutely.
We have a question from Carl Schneider from Black Market Magazine. He says, got here a little late in case this was already discussed, but how often is it that stunt women get actual acting roles as well? Like what happened with Zoe Bell, or do the majority prefer not acting? Is there pay difference? It is interesting to see, like, people who started in doing stunts and then they get, you know, some lines and what, because I know that stunt people that I've met, they kind of want to be anonymous. They actually don't want people to know about, I mean, I'm surprised that there's not an award show that gives like, you know, like the Oscars should do best stunt, right? Like, but stunt people,
Absolutely.
the stunt people that I've met, they all want to be like, no, the point is that you don't know it's us. Keep that illusion going. But I really believe that there should be some recognition from the Academy or maybe another organization to give awards, because these stunts are, I mean, you're putting your lives at risk.
Well,
So,
I think
Absolutely.
at the very least there should be
Well,
an award
just to
for best
answer.
stunt coordinator.
oh yeah, to answer Carl's question. Sorry, I went off, but like I'm.
Yeah, I know. I was like, to answer the question.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I was just gonna say though, to answer his question, I sometimes feel like I get more stunt acting roles than some of my friends who are actors, because a lot of times they are looking for people who can do the action and the dialogue. So as the years have progressed, I've gone in for tons of acting auditions because there was a stunt related to that acting role. So I feel like times have changed. When I first got in the industry, they're like, don't tell people you act. You know, you're just a stunt person. And now it's like, tell people you act. There's value in it. Now you'll get. So I feel like the doors are just opening for what we can do. I don't think we're being pigeonholed anymore. And listen, majority of the stunt people don't want to act, but then there's a whole bunch of them that do want to act. So I think it kind of balances itself out. At least that's what I'm noticing.
Mm-hmm. I initially thought I wanted to be an actor, and I majored in theater. And it wasn't until I found out most of the actors don't get to do the big stunts that I decided I'd rather go towards stunts. So I still enjoy doing both. I've gotten a good handful of guest stars and co-stars on various TV shows and stuff. So I love doing both, but especially with action.
Absolutely. There's got to be some action attached to it, without a doubt.
I would be confused.
Yeah.
I like Thunderherd's comment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they are.
Absolutely. That's what we train for. I mean, we train constantly so that we know how to hit the ground so that we don't get hurt, or we know our air awareness when we're in the air. I mean, Jesse, this is your specialty right here, so you could even talk way more about it than I can. But like, that's what we do. We train so that we can hit the ground a certain way and not get hurt. And sometimes we do, but it's our mentality and the reason that we're stunt people that we're actually able to continue to keep going, because we can get hurt and get the shot at the same time, no matter how long it takes. And then we go to the hospital, and then we get, then we see the medic, but we don't dare call the medic while we're performing. If we get hurt, we wait till the end. And sometimes the coordinator never knows that we were hurt from that actual job. So yeah, we train and we learn how to fall so that we limit or minimize the amount of injury that our body takes.
Yeah, it's a combination of, I have a huge injury prevention workout that I have to do, like segments every day. Most of it I can do on set with my bands in my stunt bag, because you need to reinforce your joints. You're going to be hitting the ground so much at weird angles. So you need to have that protection to absorb shock wherever you're falling. But also, when I first got into stunts, I would train falls in every single direction with like straight fall, front, forward, side, backwards, both sides, and then do it with a half twist, and then with a full twist, and then with a flip, and then a flip with a half, and then a flip with a full twist, and then like just everything I could think of, and do it like you're getting hit lightly and then heavier. And just, I go on the trampoline and do back bounces all day. I'll do like 30 minutes straight of just bouncing on my back with a single spin, a double spin, trying to get lost in the air and find myself again, so that I know no matter where I am, no matter how lost I am, I can find the ground and then land as safely as possible.
Absolutely. And to add to what Jesse's saying, it's like sometimes you get on these shows and the coordinators want more from you, and so you have to be able to add on to what they wanted, like that full twist, and then So, we have to train in everything that we think the coordinator might ask of us. So when we train, we don't train one specific thing. We train all scenarios. Okay, they might ask me to do this. So let me try this. Okay, well, what if they ask me to do that? Where am I? So that we're just ready for everything that the director, pulls our way, because sometimes we can get the shot and they want more. And you want to be able to give them more. So knowing where you are in the air is always important, and how to hit the ground.
Or you rehearse the fight, and on the day you get there, you're ready
Absolutely.
to shoot. They give you your high heels and the mittens and the wig that covers your whole face and the skinny jeans. And you're like, all right, how do we work around this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, can I flip? Oh, I actually had that. Someone told me a long time ago, like, practice all your flips with a backpack, with a helmet. Like, and I had a job where they were like, can you wear this motorcycle helmet while you do a series of backflips? I was like, actually, yes. Yes, I can. Strangely enough.
I can.
Yes. I had another job where they wanted me to do a flip in high heels, and they asked, what's the highest heel you can do this flip in? And I tested it, and I was like, all right, 2.5 inches. So they got me 3-inch heels. But then later they really wanted me to wear the 7-inch heels, and they didn't have them for me. So the actress let me borrow her size 11s. I was size 8. I was like,
no.
With this. But they took the
you
back
just go
flip.
with it.
Yeah, so we did, the rest of it was like wire landings and stuff with these shoes that were 3 sizes too big and 7 inches high. So it was like, we made it work.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you know what? That's what we get paid for. We get paid to make it work, you know? So that's another thing that just adds value to us, especially, and I wish Debbie was here because she could attest to this. A lot of people say they can drive cars and they can do things in a car, but then you get on set and you have the crappiest car ever. So now it's not about how technical you are with the car. Now it's about your experience. Can you fix this car if it breaks, or if the brake doesn't pull? So there's so many so many things you have to be prepared for in this industry. It's like we really get paid to get the shot and for everyone to go home safe. That's why we're there.
I'm just remembering the film right now is showing some of the stuff in the 70s. And I remember Julianne Johnson saying when she was on Charlie's Angels and stunt coordinating on there, she said every time we shot, the cars were just buckets of bolts. She's like, there were never any no seatbelts, no tread on the tires. Every time we got a car, it was like an inch away from the junkyard. And you're kind of like, how do you get this chase sequence and whatever to happen? Yeah.
They either give you the crappiest cars or the most newest ones that you can't dare do anything with. It's like, I do this motorcycle job and they give me an MV Agusta, which is like $100,000 motorcycle that I have to ride over gravel and do all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, couldn't y'all have given me like a junk bike? Like, this is $100,000 motorcycle. Like, it's either one extreme or the other. It's crazy.
Oh, I wonder if anyone has a comment on Carl's questions. He says, I don't remember her name, the accident that happened to the Stunt Woman in Back to the Future 2. Do you know that story, April?
Yeah, I do. I met her. Cheryl Wheeler Duncan. Yes, I met her. She was friends with Donna Keegan. And we show this clip in the film in Back to the Future 2 where she hits the pole when in the courtyard. She's one of Biff's gang, and it's one of the few stunts that is in a completed film, which is why I wanted to show it, because it was kind of legendary. She hit the pole and then she went through the glass wrong. She had to have reconstructive surgery on her face, and that was a bad one. But a lot of times when there's a big accident like that in a stunt, it doesn't make it into the film, and that's one where you can literally see in the film if you watch her hitting that pole. Yeah, crazy.
And I'm a film trivia buff, which shouldn't surprise anybody. Oddly enough, Biff from Back to the Future went on to become president of the United States. So that's an interesting fact. Not a fact. We're living in President Biff land in Back to the Future 3, 2. No, it's in 2, actually.
Yeah.
And we've got another great question from Thunderherd. Again, has a question if you would like to respond. what would be your dream stunt, or are they all a dream stunt? For Jesse and Alyma, what do you have a response to that? A dream stunt?
Yes.
Go ahead, Jesse.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Okay, so I want a helicopter to fly next to a cliff, and I want to sprint off the cliff and jump and grab the skids, and then reach up to try to get in the helicopter, but they slam the door. So I swing on the first skid and lâcher, which is where you release the first bar and then catch the second skid and then climb up and then get in the helicopter.
Wow. Okay.
And then it explodes.
That's
and
awesome.
then I jump out into the ocean. So
I love
if we
it.
can just
Yeah.
work that into a story, then that is
So we're gonna write a story just for that.
It's fun, yeah.
You know,
What's your dream stunt?
my thought process is a little different. I don't necessarily have a dream stunt. I actually, my dream right now is to win an Emmy for Best Stunt Coordinator. So
Ooh.
that's my dream at this very moment. That's really what I'm headed towards. So all stunts for me are dreams, are dream stunts. Because I love what I do, and it's really crazy. Being a stunt woman actually pays for my habit. That's such a bad thing to say, but like, my lifestyle is what I'm addicted to. I'm addicted to the driving, the climbing, the fighting, and the film that when I shoot, that's just what pays for my habit, so to speak, of my everyday life. That's just like the icing on the cake so that I can continue to live the life that I want to live. So my dream right now is to actually become a stunt coordinator, and I want to win an Emmy. Like, I want to be the first African-American stunt coordinator to win an Emmy. That's my dream.
Woo!
I love it.
Female stunt coordinator. Yeah.
You can
And
do it.
Tom Chen, we know Tom from Shout Factory. He says, "I'm so right on about." Biff, I'm not the first person to point this out. It's not original thought, actually, but yeah, Biff.
So now in the movie, it looks like we are getting into the stunt driving and your whole sequence.
This is
Alyma.
great.
So shooting this, Alex can chime in. What do you think the temperature was that day, and where were we?
Oh my God, it was melting the tires.
She's not exaggerating, though. That's probably literally true.
Yeah. No, it was so hot.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Alex.
This is awesome.
Oh, well, we were at Rick Seaman's race car driving school, and they were so nice and accommodating. Those guys couldn't have been sweeter. And they stayed with us all day, and we got some really great footage.
And we were at Willow Springs, the same racetrack that's in like Ford versus Ferrari. That's where we were shooting all that. And yeah, it was probably 120 maybe that day, like maybe more. Yeah, it was crazy. And speaking of one of the cars that was falling apart, you were driving one right there, that yellow one.
Yeah. Oh God, it always been. But I'm used to those cars. Those are the cars we like. Let me tell you, the one good thing I want to say about that day, which people could see in the film, is I love training because it gives us an opportunity to make mistakes. Because when we're on set, we don't get that luxury of making mistakes. So when I can go out and I can train and I can make mistakes and I can learn from my mistakes, no matter how long it takes, it's a win-win situation for me, because I know when I get on set, I'll be more in control. And like I said, we don't have the luxury of making those mistakes on set because, a camera's there, a kid is there, a PA is there where we have to like hit a mark or slide in, to get the car in a particular position for the camera. So training at Willow Springs for me is just an honor and such a privilege. I go there and I get my seat time there, and I go there to mess up. I go there to just fine tune everything that I need to do when I get on set so that I'm ready and I'm present and I'm able to do exactly what the coordinator needs from me. So we love Willow Springs and Rick Seaman.
And it was fun shooting that too, because we had a couple GoPros and a drone and 3 or 4 cameras, and our DP Svetlana was in the car with you for some of it. And
so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah, it was a pretty elaborate shooting day, and it was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
I'm watching the film now. We're getting into the fight montage. which I love this section of the film, especially when Julianne Johnson is saying, we hate the girl fights pulling hair. If I'm going to fight someone, I want to punch them out, which is hilarious.
Absolutely.
Coming from her.
Oh my God, this is such a great part.
Yeah.
This montage is amazing. Carl has another question. I guess when you were kids, Jesse and Alyma, like when you were kids, did you get in trouble doing crazy stuff?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why we're in this business. Are you kidding me? We start young. Even if we don't know we're going to end up in this business, I kind of feel like everything I did in my life prepared me for this moment. So heck yeah. But the thing I want to reiterate is being a stunt woman, we're not daredevils by any means. We're calculated risk takers. So we calculate everything. We know exactly what we're doing. We break everything down. We don't just go out there and well, Jesse might. We don't just go out there and just jump off a building just for the hell of it. But but we actually we actually calculate everything that we do. So I feel like most of the people that are in the stunt industry probably grew up kind of doing the same general things as far as our mindset is concerned. Absolutely.
And I was calculated back then too. When I was 12, I measured how far could I do a broad jump? Standing in one place, how far could I jump? And it was safely, easily 5 feet. So I pulled the trampoline 5 feet away from the house because I knew that with 2 stories of drop, well, it was like 1.5. I knew I could get probably double that. There were more specific calculations at the time.
You jumped off your house onto the trampoline?
Yes, and I had time to do it 3 times between the time that the school bus dropped me off at home and when my mom got home. So every day after school, I'd jump out the window 3 times, close and lock the window, and then sit in front of the TV. And I did get caught eventually, but it was very calculated.
So wait, you were jumping out of a 2nd-story window in your house?
Onto a trampoline.
Onto a trampoline, and then you would close the window like nothing was going on by the time your mom got home.
Yeah.
Nice.
Absolutely. I feel like that's the mindset that you kind of have to have, though, to be in this industry. It's not something it's not a light switch. It's not something that just flips on overnight. I feel like it's something that is kind of inbred in us, basically how we were brought up, the risks that we took growing up, and what we kind of learned from them and what we learned that we like to do. So, yeah, I think we all started out kind of doing some bad stuff back in the day.
But it was only bad because people thought we didn't know how to do it safely.
Absolutely. That's it.
And that's how we learn. We start when we're so young that kind of movement, jumping off a roof, becomes our normal. It becomes our safe comfort zone.
Yes.
So that we're asked to do something even more complicated. We have that, that's like walking for us. So, if you don't know how to walk and someone says, can you text while you're walking? No, that'll be hard. But if you've been walking your whole life, you can do 10 things at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're getting a lot of comments, and I'm throwing up the comments. I hope you're able to read all the comments. I'm trying to for those of you that are posting comments, thank you so much. Keep them coming. I'll post as many as I can. Thank you, Jordan. That's great. But there's here's an interesting question that William asks. William Boyer says, there was a pitched battle for years to get stunt actors recognition through the Oscars. Does it really matter to be validated through Hollywood's contrived academy, or is that still a desired achievement? I don't know. I think awards are important because I do think they give recognition to people who really who are, especially the Academy, the Oscars, because they recognize people in certain craft areas. It's all about the craftsmanship and whatnot. So, and stunts, I don't know why. We've got makeup effects gets an award. I don't know why stunts is not.
There's a big campaign for stunt Oscars right now, and the Emmys already give one for stunts. The SAG Awards gives one for stunts. There's the Taurus World Stunt Awards, where Jeannie Epper is the only woman so far to win the Lifetime Achievement. But the Oscars haven't done it. And I've been doing a lot of interviews and saying that you can argue anybody at the top of their game, if they're doing hair and makeup, if they're doing sound design, if they're directing, if they are doing stunts, they're all at the top of their game. They should be honored the same as all these other professions that contribute to the business. So
well, if the one
crazy that there's not one.
Well, but if the one thing we know about the Oscars is they're way ahead when it comes to everything. They're so far ahead, the Oscars. They're just so good at being they're not good at
leading edge, cutting edge, right?
They
Yeah.
take a while to catch up. I feel like the Oscars, it takes too much time a little. I think that's why
They're going to get there. They're going to get there. Everyone else is there. So
they'll get there. Well, Adam Merkovich says he has.
Hold on. Wait, don't read the next question yet, because I want to respond to that one, if you don't mind.
Yes,
because I really
sorry, Alyma. My apologies.
I want to respond to that, and I think it's super important, which is the only reason why I interrupted you, and I'm so sorry. But what I want to say is this: the OG stuntmen back in the day did not care if their names were up on the screen. However, times have changed, and we should be recognized for what we're doing. That being said, that is not the reason that we're stunt men and women. We don't do it for recognition. We don't do it to be in the spotlight. You know, sometimes hitting the ground, the money is not worth it. The name credit is not worth it. You know, the pain is, it's like, who cares about my name being in the film? Who cares? Now, do we want to be recognized? Absolutely, because what we do is important, and you really can't make a film without us. So, for sure. That being said, it's not a necessity. We do it because we love it, you know, and it's a passion, and it's a desire, and it's something that sometimes we do stunts for nothing, for no money. You know, a lot of times you get in this industry and you're learning and you're just starting out. You're not getting paid. You're just happy to be there and be a part of it so you can learn. So yes, we should get an Oscar. You know, we should have recognition, but by no means does that really make or break whether or not we want or do stunts or not. That the money, the recognition has absolutely nothing to do with our passion and our drive and our love for what we do. So I just wanted to throw that out there for sure. That's it.
That's great. I just think that so many different crafts, you know, from visual effects to makeup to wardrobe design, and I feel like stunts is a huge part of so many popular films. It's just Absolutely. I feel like they're a bit behind by not acknowledging it. I feel like this documentary goes a long way by not just giving the history, but talking about the business today. One interesting thing about the doc, I don't know because I have the sound off, but I have the visuals. There's a really fascinating part of the documentary that talks about that you can hire a man for a stunt as long as 3 women turn down the stunt. Is that am I correct? Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I thought that was something that really I found interesting about it's something I didn't know about the craft.
Jesse, I don't know if you want to speak on it. I don't know the exact technicalities. What I do know is that a coordinator has to do his due diligence. And if the role calls for a woman, he needs to find a woman. He needs to exhaust every angle that he can and find a woman, female, ethnic, whatever, white, it doesn't even matter. Whatever her ethnicity is, he should be finding a female and finding someone who can actually do the job safely. Now, that being said, if there is no one out there that can do that job safely, and that coordinator has done his due diligence and did everything he could to fill that spot with the person that it calls for, he might have to then call on someone who doesn't look like that person or that is a different gender in order to fill that role. At the end of the day, it's about going home safe and alive. So yes, we want to put the right person in that position. We want to make sure we do our due diligence in finding the right person, because listen, there's no more blackface. There's no more wigging guys unless it's extreme and they were unable to find someone and they had to do it for safety reasons. Then I'm all for it, because at the end of the day, we all want to go home. Absolutely.
Yeah, I had one job where they needed 3 women who were 5'8" to ride motorcycles. And there were several other movies shooting at the same time that needed 5'8" women to ride motorcycles, and they were all out of town. And I was brand new, and so they wanted to hire me, and it was for like a major like car and motorcycle movie. And I was like, to be honest, like I can commute on a motorcycle, but I can't do any tricks. And they found 2 other women, one who was an actress that used to race motorcycles and one who had no experience in the film industry, but did trick riding. And so they had 3 women who matched the physical requirements, but none of us had really enough experience to be ready in the way that we talk about that we have to be, to know that when the director says, oh, you know what, I said I want you to ride in a straight line, I just decided I need you to do a wheelie and slide to a stop. So they had a man, Jimmy Roberts, who's 5'8" as well, I think, who was there dressed and ready to go just in case they needed us to do something that we weren't ready to do. And they did end up using him for something, but like, that's the definition of like doing your due diligence to make sure you find someone who's the right size, gender, ethnicity. And, you know, if you can't find that person who has the experience and qualifications, then it's the safety is the most important.
Absolutely.
Oh, we're at this part with Ronda Rousey, and there's this fight. This fight is insane.
Yeah. Well, the moneymakers fighting each other, and I know both of you really admire them. Maybe talk about them for a minute.
Yeah. This is a great part. I love this part of the film.
Now, when we were interviewing them, Alex and I went to Atlanta to the Marvel set at Pinewood, and we're on a soundstage next door to where they were shooting Avengers Endgame, and we're on a different soundstage, and that's the Guardians of the Galaxy ship right behind us. So cool.
That's very cool. I love shooting with those girls. They're super talented. Very, very wonderful people to be around. Always willing to help, always willing to give advice. You know, and you just sit back at awe sometimes at some of the things that they're able to do, you know, and they're just amazing, amazing women to work with and to be around at all times. Absolutely.
Also really smart and alert, like Heidi's awareness of like everything that's going on and what is the proper action, and anticipating people's needs is something that I've always really admired.
Yeah. That's the thing I love about being a stunt woman, is we can actually give like compliments and credit to, you know, our peers. You know, it's like there's no shame in our game. Like, she's amazing. You know, like I love that.
Yeah.
And Jennifer, who's been watching on YouTube, has a comment, and I think it's great. So I don't know if you have anything to say to her, but she's been watching along and really enjoying the conversation.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Awesome. Thanks, Jennifer. We appreciate that. We would love to be recognized too. Absolutely.
I think it's about time. I think I really feel that when you look at just so many of the popular films, like it's unbelievable to me that there isn't some kind of award from the Oscars. So I hope that this film will actually help, you know, at least make that part of the conversation. Yeah. So here's a question for April, actually.
Well, yeah, it was based on a book. There was a book, Stunt Women, The Untold Hollywood Story, written by Molly Gregory, and the producers of the film had optioned the book. And I had done a couple movie documentaries, one about drive-in movie theaters and sort of how the history of cinema fit into that. And then I did one about movie palaces, which is actually coming out on VOD next month, right after this one. And so, yeah, I had done films like this, dealing with a lot of clips and footage. And yeah, I just, it interested me so much, especially just this angle about women struggling against a very male-dominated field, because that's Hollywood overall. And so the fact that Stunt Women was just sort of a closer look at that, it was also things that I had, you know, been fighting for as a woman director. And so it just really appealed to me. And then as soon as I started meeting I knew a couple Stunt Women already. I'd met Amy, and I knew Cheryl Lewis. And then as I started meeting, you know, more of you, I just, you know, fell in love and wanted to tell the story the way that you would want it to be told. So
you did such a great job.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, you just, you know, if you pay attention and you listen and you get involved with the community and get to know the Stunt Women, then that's what we had to do. Alex and I both got to know so many of you guys, and just, you know, pay attention, because we're making a movie, but it's your life, it's your livelihood. So we want to tell it as true and as with so much integrity as we can. So that's what we tried to do.
Awesome.
Well, I will say that that's certainly true for Hollywood but I would say for independent film, having covered independent film since the 80s, I don't want to date myself, but I will date myself. Independent film is very diverse. I think, April, I mean, in the work that you've done. And also, I started watching your drive-in documentary, Going Attractions. It's awesome. We have to do a watch party with that movie.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, because
drive-ins are the thing right now, right?
Oh my God, I love it. So we should do it. We'll email each other and we have to do your drive-in documentary, which is on actually Amazon Prime right now.
On Amazon Prime, yeah, and a bunch of other places, yeah.
As is this film, Stunt Women: The Untold Hollywood Story, is on Amazon and everything. So we have so many comments. I hope you'll indulge me in just like sharing these so you can respond to them.
Ooh.
Oh, this is maybe a question for Jesse.
For Jesse.
Yeah, about Wonder Woman 84, which just got delayed. Is it opening Christmas Day or is it next year?
Is it Christmas Day? I do think it's been pushed to December. I know they just want to wait until they can have a real box office release.
Right. But the new trailer dropped like a month ago, which was awesome. We finally got to see Kristen Wiig more as Cheetah. Mm-hmm. Looks super fun. I'm so excited that fanny packs are back. So
yeah, they're very practical.
Yeah. Oh, there's a Wonder Woman fanny pack that you can get from a friend of mine's website, Tony Kim. Hero Within.
Oh, that's awesome.
A Wonder Woman 84. I will look at it. I'll bring it over. But yeah, can you share something about it at all, or are your lips sealed?
Well, I've been given very special clearance to say that I was a stunt woman on Wonder Woman 1984.
Oh no, that's it. Okay, well that makes sense.
They did give me permission to share a photo as an Amazon. I got to do some of the most exciting stunts I've ever done were on Wonder Woman 1984. Trying to think if I'm allowed to say anything else.
Well,
I know.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome.
Thank you. I wish I could tell you more. I hope we did do like a fandom live stream, or it wasn't live, but a panel where we got to talk about being an Amazon and some other stuff. So that is out there, but I have to, like, anytime I want to say anything, I have to make sure that like it's very cleared.
And
cleared
you were in the last Wonder Woman too, right?
The first one, I had a very minor role. I basically came in for reshoots and did previs, which is one of my favorite parts of filming, when we're rehearsing and, the fight choreographer is putting the fight together, and we kind of do the whole thing shot for shot, but in a gym with like mats and boxes and stuff. And so in that situation, we get to spend way more time rehearsing and like getting the moves perfect, without having to worry as much about lights and costumes and having everyone there. And it's kind of like our live storyboard, so that when we shoot on the day with all of those components, it's all really well put together. And so that's what I got to do on Wonder Woman, the first one. And it was so much fun.
Dahlia Schweitzer has a comment. Do your significant others ever try to control what you do or don't do? Are they support? I assume they must be supportive of your careers. Otherwise, why would they be in your lives? But does that become a point of conflict? Because you don't just have a normal job. I mean, you have a job that you could, face serious injury. So there must be some concern. Does that ever become an issue?
I mean, it's it's pretty clear from the beginning that like this is what I do and what I love. And if you don't like that about me from the beginning, it's unlikely that a relationship would even start,
Absolutely. Yeah. My last significant other definitely had issues with it, which is why he was my last significant other. But so the only person I have to actually go through right now is my mom, and she's just super supportive and just there for me no matter what I do. So yeah, I think it's super important to find someone, you know, who will support you. That being said, that's very difficult. I mean, any relationship in life is difficult. Now you add on having to support the type of job that we do on top of just a regular relationship. And, you know, there's a lot of stress unless you find the right person, which, you know, when you find the right person, this whole conversation wouldn't even be existing right now. So yeah.
And we love Alyma's mom. Your mom came, I would say at least half the stuff.
My mom goes everywhere. I drag my mom everywhere. She doesn't have a choice. I'm like, I just buy her ticket. She's coming. She doesn't have a choice. She's my support system. Absolutely. Listen, she just has to be there.
Yeah, it was great meeting your mom.
That's her claim. Thank you. Jesse's mom is amazing. Yo, Jesse's mom does all the shows that yo, Jesse, your mom.
Right?
She's a mom. Yeah.
Insane.
Yes, thank you. She blew me away with. I always knew that you could kind of maintain strength as you get older, but I didn't know if you could really gain strength after, you know, your 50s or 60s. And when she was 62, she just became determined to do her first pull-up in her entire life, had never been able to do one. And so it took her 2 years to get that first one solid, and now she can do 15 pull-ups, strict form.
That's amazing.
She does ninja obstacles. She competes in more ninja competitions than I do. So
that's amazing. You know, what I do want to say is that it is important for us in the industry, though, to have a support system. You know, whether that's a significant other or it could be a mentor or, you know, something of that nature. But in this industry, you're alone a lot of the times, you're traveling a lot of the times, and having a significant other, I think, is important, whether it's a husband, a spouse, or a family member like your mom, or, you know, or just a mentor that you can call. I feel like that's super important mentally in this industry for sure.
Yeah.
We have Lorraine has kind of a longer question here. If you wouldn't mind responding to it, it's if you can see Jesse's story about the motorcycle brings up a question. The complexity of stunts and action sequences for women on film seems to be increasing exponentially. Is there a point where the need for trained stunt women might outstrip the numbers of those coming up in the talent pipeline? Is there a mentorship? Basically, is there a mentorship? Like how, I mean, I maybe what Lorraine's asking, like, how do you, you know, I mean, this is such an unusual job in the film industry, which is already such a bizarre industry. How do you even get involved, and how do you mentor, and how do you, you know?
Well, you know, based off of her question, she's saying, is there a point where there's the need for trained stunt women? Basically, do we kind of run out of the stunt women? Like, is there someone who could actually do the job? And I want to tell you something. With social media these days, there are women out there that can do all sorts of stuff. You don't even have to be a stunt woman in order to get into the stunt industry now if you have a specific skill. So for instance, like Altered Carbon, the female fighter in that show, never did stunts before. She's a dancer, but they saw her skill from social media and they brought her in. The Watchmen, the young lady Sadiqa Bynum who played the stunt double on The Watchmen, they found her through her social media. Now, she was a stunt woman, but no one really knew exactly what she could do. So I say that to say there's talented women everywhere. And with social media being at the top of its game right now, there's absolutely no need to say that they can't find someone, a female, that can do that job.
That's
no way.
Point.
They don't have that excuse anymore.
My story was way back in like 2007, and it's such a different world now. That's a good point.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So I feel like people are coming up through the woodwork, and now with social media, you can actually find them, where before you didn't know they existed. So, yeah, no, we're good. Now, that being said, our stunts do get harder and harder. And if we want to stay valuable in this industry, we also have to grow and learn and get better. So we don't want the coordinator having to go to social media to find someone who's not even in the industry to come in and take our job. It's our job to stay current, to make sure we know what we're doing, that we grow, that we evolve, so that we can take those jobs. But are there women out there? Absolutely. You can't stop us. Women are amazing. And now with social media, you can actually find us. And that's all I got to say about that, damn it.
That's right.
I'm not sure if this was answered earlier, but there was a question about COVID and how it's impacted the industry. I know some production is amping up. How has that affected just everything in terms of doing shows?
A few that were in this film are on set right now because we've tried to get them for different Q&A. So I know at least one is working in Atlanta. Amy Johnston's working in Hawaii. So production's back. Melissa Stubbs just got done second unit up in, I think, in Vancouver, somewhere in Canada. So the work's coming back, but you're right. They have to quarantine for 2 weeks before they can get going.
Well, I mean, Robert Pattinson on the Batman apparently had COVID, and they've just restarted production. They're in London, from my understanding. So,
well, COVID's really affected me in the sense of I'm prepping for a show right now in Canada, and in order for us to do our fittings, we have to do a COVID test before the fitting and a COVID test right after the fitting. So right now, even though I'm not working, I'm doing almost 2 COVID tests a week. And I know once I get on set, we'll probably be taking a COVID test every day, specifically stunts. I know the crew, the minimum they're taking their tests are like 3 times a week. And I know stunts, we're almost every day. So it's absolutely affected, everything that we do. When I go to Canada and I have to quarantine for 2 weeks, I mean, there's a $750,000 fine if I get caught not quarantining, 6 months in jail, and I'm not admitted back into Canada for a year. And the government comes to check on you to make sure you're at your house. So absolutely things have changed, without a doubt, without a doubt.
So are you guys now training or, doing all the pre-stuff with masks on and then just taking the masks off when they're rolling camera?
Yes, and a lot of times they're writing the masks into the storyline now, which is really weird. Like I'm doing a show right now where the fighters are fighting with masks, just because of COVID, and that's just part of their whole, wardrobe. So they're really building masks and PPE kind of into our wardrobe right now because, I mean, we have to. And even with intimacy scenes, it's like, now on some of the shows, the actresses are kissing their spouses as opposed to their coworkers, so, they're not even kissing the other character on the scene. So yeah, COVID's definitely changed a lot.
The film is showing previses now, and we have a brief shot in there, Alyma, where you guys did a pretty elaborate previs for Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, that was amazing. Walter Garcia was the stunt coordinator on there, and he's just one of the most insanely talented coordinators I've ever worked for, because he set that whole previs up as though it was the movie. I mean, when we put that previs together, you actually thought you were watching the movie itself. So it was really cool. And he brought in an amazing team of people, stunt performers who were actually doing flips on stilts, and all those things that you think that they kind of CGI'd in or whatever was actually real stunt performers. So it was really a really amazing time. And just like Jesse said, shooting previs to me is like one of the best things you can do as a stunt performer. They're the most fun. You get a chance to fight. You go into a warehouse. You fall into boxes, into mats, and you get to act. And yeah, so shooting previs are always fun.
This previs segment with Paul Feig for Ghostbusters was hilarious. It was amazing. Like the fact that you basically act out the whole thing and then you see it totally matches what ends up on screen. Like that was great.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Well, that's actually what the previses are for.
They shoot the previs and they build out the previs to the action on screen. Like they don't reshoot it to match. Like the previs a lot of times becomes
the action.
Right. Yeah. Oh,
absolutely. Wow. Yeah, on Jumanji 2, the last one that I did that's out, when we shot that fight scene, it took us 2 weeks. But before we left, the very last day of shooting the actual film, they edited and did everything right then and there. We were able to see what you saw on film that very day before we left. So times have changed as far as editing and getting previs done. And we were able to see what was actually going to be on the film as soon as we finished shooting the show that very day. So it's pretty intense how technology has changed, and now they want work done right away. So a lot of times you got to give them the product, you know, before it even gets to the editing room. They want to see what's going to the editing room. And a lot of times the editing room, the finale is based off of exactly what we did in the previs. And that's one of the reasons we do a previs.
And we're getting to the part in the film where we were in Vancouver, Alex, on the X-Files set. And Melissa knew Chris Carter, the creator of the X-Files. And when we wanted to shoot up there, I had traded messages with her to get her in the film, probably for almost a year, just trying to figure out when, where we could shoot her. And then she just went to Chris Carter, and because he respected her so much, he said, yeah, come up. And Alex, I remember you saying how it was so different. You'd shot things for HBO and how much access we had just because of how much he respected Melissa.
Yeah, that was awesome because we were trying to get access from everybody, and nobody would give us access. You know, understandably, you know, their movies are proprietary, and they don't want a documentary to shoot something that's not part of the script. But it was great to go up there. It was freezing cold. But Melissa was awesome. She was very accommodating, and we got to go all over the place with her. It was a lot of fun. And she's still well respected up there. It's amazing.
She's amazing. She's well respected everywhere. She's amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah, and she has some great stories to tell too.
Here's another question. And while you answer that question, I'm just gonna run and come right back. So April, you're taking over. Okay.
Oh, I am okay.
You're taking over. I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
Any new stunts you guys see being able to do in the future because of advances in technology? Well, I mean, yeah, that part I was explaining how, like, you do the previs with the wires or whatever, and then that becomes in the film the action sequence that they build the rest of the film around in some cases, right? So you're kind of living the future now in a way.
Absolutely, we're already there. Yeah. I mean, I think what we can see in the future is maybe the stunts that we're currently doing getting safer. You know, maybe there's ways to make things a little bit more safe. But the things you see in film right now, we're doing. And, you know, I don't know how much more you want. How much more do you want from us?
Well, I think the other thing, too, like we had a whole we talked to everybody in the film about CG, because like when CG started happening, people were like, is that going to replace stunt people or eventually actors? And so there were some films where the action was only CG, like created completely artificially. And they came to realize that audiences don't like that because a human can sense another human. So they can tell if
it's a robot.
If it's CG only created, but if it's a human where you guys are on wires, but you do the stunt first, and then they build the rest of the CG world around it, whether they're other humans or other aliens or whatever it might be, the fact that the movement is a human, the audience can tell, and then they're in the action because they can tell there's jeopardy. They can feel there's an actual human versus when it's just completely computer generated. So
yeah,
let's see what lots of other questions.
And also, I feel like stunts get more advanced as time goes. So I'm sure there'll be more advancement in stunts, but again, probably more safety as well. So they kind of will go a little hand in hand, I feel.
All right. So question, the stories are really good with all the interviews. How tough was it to edit down to the final length of the film? Oh, a lot. There was a ton of great stuff that ended up on the cutting room floor. I mean, I think you can tell by talking to these women that just you start talking to them and spending time in their world, there's just a wealth of amazing stuff. So it was tough to cut down. There was so much that we had. Okay, it's just like flipping through these. I'm not able to control it. But the next question coming up, favorite stunt work that was difficult in the first go around. Do you guys have any stories about that?
Yeah. I had a fight scene that came out.
I don't know if I have a. Yeah, go ahead, Jesse.
Okay. Yeah. Think about it. I'm sure you'll find one. I had a fight scene that I had to do with a hose attached to my chest as if I was a robot plugged into a wall. So I had like a 20-foot garden hose strapped onto my chest, and I was fighting people. And like, it's so interesting how even it's affected by heat. So like on a hot day, it's flexible and moves more easily, but like when it's cold, it stiffens up. But trying to step over it and dodge and then sometimes use it was extremely challenging and very interesting to work into a fight. But also playing a robot and trying to be engaged in the fight and like powerful with your body, but without like any expression was a very interesting challenge.
Wait, are you saying there's a robot in Wonder Woman 84? Because
I am not.
That's new. That's movie news right now.
That would be movie news if it were true, but it is not.
Okay, all right, good.
This was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Cool. We're getting towards the end of the film, actually.
Yeah, we're at the part where everybody gets very sentimental, where Jeannie wishes she could keep doing it, but she's realizing that she can't. And everybody, you know, we love Jeannie, and those emotions of our mortality, you know, really hits home, I think. What do you guys feel when you see this part of the movie?
You know, it's sad. For me, it's sad. Absolutely. Because when I watch that part of the movie, I feel a sense of longing, like they still want to be a part, and they kind of feel like they're not a part of the industry that much anymore. And so I feel like, and I understand I'm not even in their position, and I understand. So I definitely was sad when it came down towards the ending of the film, for sure. Listening to some of the legends speak.
I mean, it's heartbreaking because she's so amazing and has done so many incredible things and continues to influence more amazing women coming up. But yeah, when you're not able to do something that you love so much, it's just heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
she's still, but they're all.
I mean, listen, this game is
still so present, and that's the cool thing. Like, even though they're, you know, physically they're not doing it, they're all very present in the industry. You guys are aware of them, you're thinking of them, and there is this sort of like community around stunt people in general, but especially among the stunt women that have paved the way. So that's one thing that we really wanted to show in the film. That's so cool. Whether it's
absolutely.
Whether it's Jeannie, Julianne, JD, some of these early women, even Debbie Evans, even though she's younger than they are, you know, there's so many that are still doing it. Like Jesse said, you know, Jeannie for 50 years kept doing it. So, you know, there's not necessarily an expiration date, which is pretty inspiring.
And it's nice now that you guys have more.
Yeah, your body is your expiration date.
Yeah.
It's nice that there's more opportunities for you guys to move into coordinating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you want to coordinate too, Jesse?
Yeah. We'd like to think that there are.
Yeah, there are definitely more opportunities. I've never felt held back by being a woman in any way. I'm not sure that I'm currently inspired to work towards becoming a stunt coordinator. I love and respect the coordinators that I work for, and I'm so excited that you're going to be one, Alyma. But I don't know if that's where I'm aiming right now.
Yeah, I realize a lot of people that come in the stunt industry, stunt coordinating is not necessarily their next go-to. Once you meet your stunt coordinators and you realize what they have to go through to kind of get the job done and how much of management it is, you know, a lot of stunt people, that's not where they want to head, which is great. But yeah, I think when you become a stunt person, there's so many different directions that, you know, it kind of is a trampoline. It can bounce you to any direction that you really want to go to. And there's so many different ways that you can go. This is really just a launching pad for, you know, everything else in life that we want to do as well.
I also want to point out over the end credits, we have a song that Diane Warren wrote specifically for the film. And I was with our composer and our music supervisor and some of the producers starting to score the film right at the beginning, and the lyrics came over for the song Without a Net that she wrote. And when I read the lyrics, I almost cried. I'm like, she managed to capture exactly how the Stunt Women feel and wrote this amazing song. And so we're just so excited to have it in the film. She really nailed it.
The Diane Warren. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah. And performed by Mickey Guyton, who's very up and coming right now at the moment, that we just lucked out on that. And she's amazing.
Wow. Well, congratulations, everybody. This is amazing. Jennifer, thank you for sticking with us the whole time. Thank you, everybody. Wow, this was awesome. This is like probably the most comments and questions that we've gotten for any of our watch parties. So thank you, everybody. And also, you need to see this documentary right now. You will be inspired. It's historical. It's significant, especially today. I think it just seeing what both of you, Jesse and Alyma, go through in it. So many actresses are praised for being brave. And I always think about that, and I'm like, okay, they're brave, yes, for maybe taking a role, but their jobs don't involve things that could, end in serious injury or death. So you are brave. So
thank you.
Yeah, I really want to thank you
so
for that.
much.
Yeah, April and Alex.
I was gonna say they're all heroes of mine, all the Stunt Women.
Yeah,
that I've got a chance to meet and get to know and hear their stories. Like, seriously, they're amazing. And getting to know their stories and all the Q&As I've been doing with them since this movie's been coming out, and they're really incredible and inspiring people.
And
thank you, Jennifer.
Jesse is a fan.
That's awesome.
Jesse has a lot of fans.
Yeah, I thought that. You said it, I thought it.
Yeah. That's
great. For those that are just maybe catching this at the end, make sure you see the movie. It's so good. Stunt Women, the Untold Story. There's been a thing running the whole time. First of all, before we get to final thoughts, I just want to show my Wonder Woman 84 fanny pack, which
I love it.
This is a real thing.
Where's the logo?
So you weren't just bringing that up hypothetically. You actually had one.
I actually have a fanny pack. And if you unzip it, you can.
Why is it Wonder Woman 84? I don't see anything.
Because it has the logo. It has the logo.
You could have got that in Venice Beach.
You think so?
I know, right?
Okay, now
it's cool. Look,
I see a little something there. I don't know.
See, 84. So yes, my friend Tony Kim, his company HeroWithin.com. I'm giving him a plug. And a lot of final comments. People just thanking Carl Schneider. Thank you, Eli Knight. Thank you again. For some reason, he says he feels ancient. Oh wow! So. Jesse, you were on Supergirl, but Supergirl, I feel like Supergirl, we have not seen the last of Supergirl, right?
Yeah, I think I think this series just ended, though. I saw something from Melissa about that. I did a lot of work on the first season, but then they moved to Canada. And Shauna Duggins was one of her main stunt doubles while it was here. And then Atlin, what's her last name? Atlin Vera is the double in Canada. But she's so nice, and I loved working on Supergirl.
Well, final thoughts from everybody before we sign off for the night. What do you think? We can.
That's a tricky question.
Yeah, I just want to hear your final thoughts before we sign off.
Inspiring words and go.
Well,
yeah,
I want to thank Alex. Alex for being my partner in crime to like go everywhere and shoot everything for this film.
We love you, Alex.
And it was literally like we said, like you would get somewhere like Jesse's house, they would just start doing stuff, and it was just like go, and it didn't stop, like because they just started like doing their thing, and we're capturing it. So every time it was just amazing. Every day was exciting to shoot. Alex was with me, you know, dealing with all the details and logistics and, oh, we can't shoot here, we got to shoot here instead problems that come up and all of that. And it was amazing. And to both of you, you know, I'm so happy to know you and call you both friends now. And to have both of you be part of this story, and you're both awesome. And I hope that, you know, I tried to put as many stunt women in the film as I could. There's a lot of amazing stunt women that aren't in the film, but I hope that they all feel like it's their story and that everything is in there and represented. And so for both of you, for, you know, giving of yourselves, letting me get in on what you're doing, your training a little bit and capture some of that was amazing. We could not have done it without both of you.
Thank you. Thank you for putting this together. Because I mean, I had fun shooting with you for a couple days, but to get to see the final product and
awesome. Thank you so much.
Even hear stories about the women who I've looked up to and worked with, who, like, stunt women don't usually talk about themselves that much, and so you can be working with someone for years and then be like, wait, you're a world champion at what? And like to hear their stories and get to like live it and see their stunts with their face was so amazing just to get to watch it.
Well, and like Double Dare, which I also love, hopefully people will watch this one over and over again now that want to get into it.
They will, for sure.
Like you watch Double Dare and you watch this one.
Absolutely. Yeah, this was definitely a highlight of my career, just getting the opportunity to be around such amazing, you know, women, and to see where we've come from and to see how far we have to go, and just to see that the opportunity is endless. And yes, we love the recognition, but the thing I love about this documentary is this right here was exactly what we needed. It actually tells the story and the livelihood of what we go through on a daily basis, which even seeing us get an Oscar or an Emmy, you still wouldn't know, you know, what we do. So I really appreciate what April did with this documentary, so people can actually see, you know, get a glimpse of our lives and see kind of where we came from and how much further we can go with this. And so we thank you for the support, and we thank you for just giving us a platform to, you know, just be able to speak on and give recognition to the people who put their lives on the line every day, you know, so that you can get a good show at the film or at the movie theater or on TV. So I'm very thankful to be a part of this project for sure. Absolutely.
And making documentaries, the funnest part about this one, and Alex knows this, we kept saying the whole time was we want to make an action documentary. We know people have to talk and tell the stories, but for me, that was the funnest part, to shoot that drift car racing with Debbie Evans, where she had Michelle Rodriguez in the car and her son driving.
Epic.
That was so fun. And we're working with the top people in the business to shoot actual action sequences. I love that. I had a blast. Didn't you guys have fun shooting that?
Amazing.
So yeah, it was an honor. I was honored to make this and to tell your story.
Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody. April, you are going to be back because we're going to watch your drive-in documentary, Going Attractions, which is on Amazon. So that'll be coming up. We have another watch party next week. If you go to filmthreat.com, our watch party is The Argument, which is an incredible indie comedy with Danny Pudi and Dan Fogelberg and a bunch of really cool actors. There are no stunts in that movie, I can tell you definitively. I have seen it, and there are no stunts.
I know, right? Then what's the point? No.
But this was awesome. My thought in seeing the film also was, this isn't just a film, this is like a series. Like, I feel like it could be a reality show or an ongoing series. Like, there's so many things. I mean, you do kind of the broad strokes of the history, but this could be an ongoing project. You probably already know that, April. I don't need to tell you. So,
oh my gosh, yeah. So much that didn't even make it. Yeah, there could have been a whole half hour on fire burns because stuff that we couldn't even show. We spent like 30 seconds on it. So yeah, there's a lot more you could know, that you could learn, that we did not even show.
Well, thank you to everyone. I hope you watch more of our Film Threat watch parties. And April, Alex, Jesse, Alyma, thank you so much. Congratulations on the film. Congratulations on the film, and thank you for taking the time to talk to everyone on this watch party. Take care, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
So kiss? I don't know. How do we end this? Here we go. I don't know.